What's up? This is Brian Pfeiffer, marketingmeathead.com. Today I'm going to talk to you about the productivity flywheel and how to be more productive from home. All right, so I wanted to do a video today that was more along the lines of people that maybe got let go from their job recently, or they're working from home now and they're looking to be more productive, or the people that are just kind of in limbo. They kind of got laid off or whatever. There's a lot of, they're saying it could be up to 47 million people. So I'm assuming some of my audience this is going to apply to. And I been wanting to do a video on productivity anyway. And I read an article from another affiliate marketer, and it kind of spurred me to do this article. The funny thing is, I've heard about the productivity flywheel from a book I read a long time ago. It was called Good to Great by Jim Collins. And I read that probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I applied some of the principles in that book to my own business. And basically, I got the results now 5 years later, and it definitely works. Okay, so this is really important information that I'm going to be giving you guys. It's not going to be one of those videos that goes viral or whatever, but for those of you that are trying to find ways to be more productive from home, this is going to be a very good article and something that you can take from this situation, which is a unfortunate quarantine situation, and we're going to take that and we're going to parlay it into hopefully the next 3 to 5 years of your life and make some changes and difference in. And that's the whole idea with this blog post. Now, I did put a full blog post together. I spent a couple hours writing it. It was inspired by the other one I read, but the actual post itself is very good, and I put a lot of time into it. So I want you to go through and check this blog post out, and but we'll go through it here too. It's good to read it because I can't cover quite every. I'm not going to read it word for word here in the video, and I did put a lot of time and effort into this. So make sure you go ahead and click on that link and like it, tweet it, share it if you find it valuable. Put it on Pinterest. I got all the social shares on there, and like I said, I put a lot of time into this thing, so it'd be nice if you guys got the word out because it is going to help a lot of people, in my opinion. All right, so the biggest thing I wanted to start out here is the productivity flywheel is basically I like to think of it as like a pendulum, sort of like it's like a you ever seen one of those old school power things at like a dam, okay? And basically the water spins it around, and then what happens is it just starts spinning on its own, and then it's really hard to stop it, okay? It's not, you can't just, it's just like kind of like a fan, once a fan starts spinning, I got a fan going above my head, and you can't just stop it when it's, when you want to stop it. If you stick your finger up in it while it's spinning, you're going to get your fingers probably cut off, or at least get hurt. And that's kind of what the productivity flywheel is, okay? And I relate that, think of the fan or think of that flywheel in the water that's spinning. You can't just stop it, okay? Once you start rolling, it starts rolling, but it typically doesn't just start rolling on its own, okay? You got to push it a little bit, and then you got to push it a little more, and then you got to push it a little more. That motor is turning that fan, and pretty soon it gets up to full speed, but it doesn't just, you don't just flip the switch and it's at full speed. It takes a little while to get there, okay? And what I'm going to show you in this blog post and this video is that your life, okay, and your business and the way how you deal with money is basically a productivity flywheel, okay? And I'm going to give you some tips and tricks here to take the assets that you have currently and try to streamline them and take those assets and then turn them into what would be more leveraged assets down the road, okay? And that's the whole idea with this video and blog post today. All right, so basically, I wanted to tell everybody basically has the same time and energy and attention in a day. Okay, the big difference is how you use that time, energy, and attention. Okay, we all have 24 hours. Okay, that is a fixed amount that we only have 24 hours in a day, and I suggest that you sleep at least 7 to 8 hours and even 9 hours on some days if you feel a little run down to get your energy up. Okay. And then your attention is the other factor, okay? The attention is very hard to come by and very overlooked these days. We're stuck on these things, the phones, okay? And social media, what do we got here? Just on my home page here, I got Snapchat, I got Facebook, I got Facebook Messenger, I got WhatsApp, I got Instagram, I got TikTok on the other screen, I got Tinder, Bumble. I mean, there's so many apps that can take my attention away from the things that I should be doing, that it's insane, okay? And you have to be able to figure out how to put that aside, give it the time that you want to give it. If you allot like a half hour to give it attention, so be it. If it's an hour, whatever it takes to get that time away, but don't overdo it. You can't take all your attention away from the things you should be doing to get that productivity flywheel going and waste it on things like Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok, okay? So that's the first thing you have to understand, okay? Those are the three things that you have to work on is your time, your energy, and your attention. It's how you devote your time, how much energy you have in a day. And, take, for example, in this blog post, I had this girl, she's got a daughter, and she's fairly young. She works at a retail job, and then she works on a bartender on the weekends. I know a lot of people like this, okay? I know people that do this exact life, okay? And they only have so much time, energy, and attention in a day because they got, the child, they got work, they got to commute back and forth to work and whatnot. And there's a guy like Tim. This is more like a guy like me. He's got more time because he doesn't have that commute, okay? He's got more energy because he's able to sleep a little bit more every day and doesn't have to have such a rigid schedule. And if you go to bed late, you miss out on sleep. That's kind of a typical the way things are when you want to have a job. And then as far as the attention goes, this Tim here is able to devote his attention to more important things like writing content, putting out content, working on the business, that kind of stuff, okay? And you can see here there's a lot more, time, energy, and attention for this person compared to that person. Now, I'm not saying that the other person is like a huge disadvantage. Like this person, if they decide they want to give less attention to something, potentially they can afford to hire a nanny, okay? Or potentially they can afford to, find a job where they work from home and they don't have to drive back and forth to work, okay? Maybe they work out and eat a little bit healthier to get more energy. There's different ways that you can increase these, okay? And I put some examples here. One thing you can do with your time is you can plan your days and weeks better, okay? And I have an old school paper planner here. I know there's apps and stuff, but I just like the book, okay? I buy a book every year, and I keep track of my daily, tasks and stuff on there. I cross them off as I get done. They say there's a little bit of a dopamine hit when you cross it off, and I believe that. There probably is. And, I cross off tasks throughout the day. I look at my thing at the end of the day and either got them crossed off or I got them checked off, like I got them done, okay? And that's what I do every day. Another example for your time is I buy all my groceries at one time. I know exactly what I eat for the week. I have a very strict diet, and I go and buy those groceries every week. One time, I'm in and out in about an hour. Now, I could get them delivered, but honestly, by the time I went to the internet and found everything on there, and then had to meet the guy to get them delivered, then unpack them. It's not. I'm like 5 minutes from the grocery store. It's not that hard for me to run over there, get what I need because I know where everything is. I go in and out, I'm in and out. Okay, and sometimes every once in a while I'll see stuff that's on sale. I might pick up something a little bit of variety once in a while. It's nice to just have a little bit of difference in my diet. I don't really mind going to the store, but it's only like 1 hour out of my week, my entire week. Okay, another option would be to have a meal prep service deliver to you. I know a number of my business partner. He's my sales guy. He has a meal prep delivery service. He doesn't like to cook and he doesn't have the time, so he just has meals delivered. So it works for him. You can use there's blocking tools out there. I know there's apps that you can download where you can basically shut off the other apps, and when you decide you want to look at that other stuff, the notifications will pop back on. I don't personally use one of those. I'm just good at flipping my phone over when I'm working, and then when I get to it, I get to it. Okay. Some people don't have that the willpower, but you can try one of the apps or do it like I do it. As far as the energy goes, eating a healthy diet is huge, and I eat a very healthy diet. I've done a little bit of biohacking. I've done some research. I've read Dave Asprey's books, and I've found over the years I've fine-tuned my diet to basically have a really high-level, low brain fog type of diet. Okay, and it works for me. I suggest you do some research. That's one thing you can also do is research your diet and get that more fine-tuned. Okay, and it's going to give you more energy. And I mentioned already the sleep, getting 7 hours at least. I try to get 8, sometimes even 9 if I'm feeling a little run down. Okay, and I do cardio every day. I try to get that 7 days a week when I'm at home and I got the bike here. And then I try to do weights 4 to 6 days a week. Now weights is a little bit more tough right now because it's time when we're not able to go to the gym, but I did buy some equipment and I've been able to do some decent workouts at home. So even if it's for 20 or 30 minutes, I get some weights in, at least I'm kind of maintaining, and that's what I'm trying to do right now. And as far as your attention, we talked about the decrease in the app and social media time. You can get rid of your time-consuming tasks earlier in the day, or set aside a time during the day where you can do your deep work. That's very very important, so that your deep work and your hard work gets done. Like for me right now, I'm writing a lot of blog posts and writing content, and I have to focus in on find time that I can do that. Okay, lately it's been like really late in the morning, and it is what it is. I get a little tired, but I get it done. Okay, and that's the important stuff. And most people are talking about a decompression tool like affirmations. You could do walks. I know a YouTuber that says he does walks a couple times a day, and meditation. I like to meditate in the summer in the pool. In the winter, I don't really do much meditation, but I probably should. Okay, so I can definitely improve there. So let's look at like a before and after here. After you do some of these things I suggested, okay, you're going to have a lot more time, you're going to have a lot more energy and a lot more attention to devote to other things, okay? And what you want to do then is take your added time, energy, and attention, and you want to go ahead and use that to generate more money. Okay, now not everybody is equal in the playing field of life and work. We get that. You can have a person that is a nurse, for example, with the same time, energy, and attention, and they're only going to make X amount because that's all nurses gets paid. Okay, and then you could have a dentist, for example, with the same time, energy, attention, and they're going to get a lot more money because they're a higher paid specialist. Okay, and so what I suggest here in phase number 2. Okay, once you have your time, energy, and attention figured out, you want to go ahead and find different ways to make more money. Okay, and in my case, I gave an example here of I have a cleaning service that comes over, and I pay them $80, and it takes them a couple hours to do my house, and they do an okay job. Okay, they're not great, they're not bad, they're not great, but they do an okay job. But you know what? It's good enough. And if I had to clean my house by myself, it'd probably take me 4 hours. Okay. So instead of 4 hours of my time, I give them $80. But in that 4 hours, I can put out a good video. I can potentially write a nice blog post, and that video or blog post can make me money for years to come. Okay, and that's my example. And one of the reasons I can do that because over time I've gotten more educated. I've taken a lot of courses. I understand the YouTube and the Google algorithms now, and I'm able to put out quality content, and it gives me a better chance of making money on that content down the road. Okay, so that comes along the lines with going ahead and getting more education, going to like a tech school or a college. That's another opportunity. You can take an online course, get a side hustle, kind of like I have. You can negotiate a better salary or better hourly rate. You can look for another company potentially that might pay you more. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of opportunities and potentially new jobs opening up when this economy comes back, and maybe some of these people don't necessarily go back to work. Okay, so it might be your opportunity coming up here to find a different company that might pay more. Okay, improving your skills is a big one. This is the one that I focus on like pretty much 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm constantly taking courses. I'm watching videos. I'm always trying to improve my skills. Okay, and I still feel like I got a ways to go to get to where I really want to be, but I'm getting there. Okay, if I look at what I was a year ago and a year before that, I've come a long way. Okay, and that's the thing. If you can go, I always try to tell people go 1%. Try to go 1% improvement per day, whether it be in your business or in your skill set, some kind of 1% gain. And if you go to bed at night thinking, man, I got my 1%, I'm 1% better because I did this, then you're going to make a lot of progress over the course of a year. Okay. And another one is look for like a commission job. We can look for affiliate marketing is a good opportunity there, maybe potentially an e-com store or something like that. Okay. So these are side hustles. Some of this stuff is side hustles. Some of this is just getting better skills and bettering your career. Okay. But, once you have that money, okay, you need to figure out how to use it more efficiently, okay? And this is for the productivity flywheel. Now, this is me back in the day. I would make money and I would spend money and I would go into credit card debt because I would spend more than I really was making. I had a boat. I had a yacht at one time. I had a 46-foot yacht, and I used to throw parties on it, and the thing would break a lot and cost money to maintenance it and insurance it and the payments. Always buying beer and crap for it. And I was spending more money than I was making. Okay, I had a hell of a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong; it was awesome. But at one time, I landed myself $89,000 in credit card debt. Okay, $89,000 in credit card debt. Your monthly payment on just the interest is like $2,000 a month. Okay, so $2,000 a month in wasted money that's just like on interest. It was ludicrous. So that's where I was at one time in my life. Now today, I've smartened up a lot. Okay, number one, I've gotten a lot better at what I'm doing. Okay, I've become a lot more educated. My skills are better. I'm have more income streams, And I might be spending the same amount of money, but relative to my income, my expenses are less because I'm making more, but my expenses are less. So there's now like a gap here. There's a difference. Okay, and this is what you want to strive for. You want to strive to get this difference. You want to have your income be more than your expenses, and then you're going to have some left over. Okay, for like literally like almost 20 years of my life, I didn't have any difference. It was living like pretty much paycheck to paycheck. I wasn't living like paycheck to paycheck. I was living more like save up and then buy something stupid like a Harley, or save up and buy something stupid like a boat. Okay, and that's what I did for like 20 years of my life. I had a pretty nice car. I had an Escalade. I had a Harley, and I had a boat at one time. Okay, and I was in credit card debt. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's the truth. All right, so once you have that gap, okay, then you can start figuring out what you need to do to basically use that money. It's funny. I wanted to say a quote from my dad here. He used to say, "You need to live within your means." Okay, and as I've aged, I want to change that to tell everybody out there that not only do you need to live within your means, I say you need to live below your means, okay? Because if you live below your means, that's when you're going to have that difference, okay? And that difference is that money you can take and you can invest that money, okay? Now let's talk about the phase, the next phase here, which is phase 4, and that's investing the money to get some leverage, okay? There's a lot of different investment tools, okay? And I highly recommend that you go and do a little bit of research before you make a move. I've made the mistakes of investing in a nightclub before that went south, lost $350,000 there. I invested in a party bus company that failed, lost a couple $100,000 there. And I invested in crypto, and I lost about $50,000 there. So over the course of my life, that's probably close to $500,000 that I've just pissed away, basically, in stupid investments, okay? And every single one of those investments looked like they were, the best thing ever, and they turned out not to be, okay? And ultimately, I ended up, if I had that $500,000 right now, properly invested, I probably could be making a substantial, either dividend reinvest type of thing, or side income off just the investment interest. And you could be rolling that back into the investment and growing it at an exponential rate. But I didn't. Okay, it is what it is. You learn from your mistakes. But some people use stocks as an avenue. My mom preaches the dividend-paying stocks. I know she likes AT&T, and she owns some of that and some other dividend-paying stocks. That's a good one if you don't have a lot of time. Okay, for example, if you don't have a lot of, if like you're in digital marketing like myself, you end up spending a lot of time in front of the computer. Maybe real estate isn't your game. Some people like to use real estate and they say, "Oh, preach real estate," but real estate takes time. Okay, especially if you're dealing with rental properties and you're dealing with tenants, and you got to deal with repairs sometimes. I've owned a number of properties. I think I've owned about 5 or 6 houses along the way, and I've done a couple flips, like rehabs, and then flipped them. And there's a lot of work involved. Okay, you're dealing with contractors, you're dealing with trips to Home Depot, you're dealing with issues. You open up a wall and there's a mess behind there. There's all kinds of stuff you deal with when you're doing real estate. It's definitely not passive. Okay, now is there an opportunity to make some money on real estate if you buy at the right time and you make the right investment? Yes, there is opportunity. But I don't think right now is probably one of those times. Okay, right now is probably not a time that I would be wanting to hold real estate with all the issues going on with people not paying their rent and the possibility of the market crashing and a lot of the different things that are going to come along with real estate. Another problem with real estate is it's not very liquid. Okay, one thing about stocks is have something come up like a quarantine and you lose your business, and you have some stocks, you can just go ahead and liquidate those, and you have cash to keep your daily life going. Okay, and that's one thing that you can't do in real estate. If anything, real estate's going to start draining you if people aren't paying their rent. And I'm sure you can get some kind of a mortgage forbearance or whatever, but you still got to pay that money at some point. Okay, you're going to pay that later. And it's just not pretty. You still got to pay the taxes, HOA, the electricity, and all that crap has to be paid. Okay, so there's issues with real estate. But just take the biggest word of advice from someone who's made some bad investments is make sure you really do your research and really understand what you're investing in before you take your hard-earned money and invest it. Okay, because I've made a lot of mistakes along the way, and hopefully I can going forward make a lot better choices. Okay, that's what I would recommend. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is investing in maybe like systems and technology, and that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm redoing a number of my websites, and I'm actually reviving an old website, and these will rank, and a lot of the stuff I'm going to going to be doing is going to help me rank more. It's also going to improve my quality ranking in Google Ad Rank, which will give me better places in the auction, lower cost traffic. And I know, if and when we do come back and it's somewhat back to normal like it was before this all went down, then all this hard work is going to pay off. Now, I could be investing in a system and technology that is not going to pay off if things don't come back to normal. Okay, if that's the case, well, then I wasted a lot of time and probably some money, and it is what it is. But that's a choice that I'm willing to make right now, and hopefully, cross our fingers here that things kind of come back to normal at some point. Okay, and another thing you can also invest in is other people's resources. Okay, get employees, get 1099 contractors. Just off the top of my head, I have a graphic designer on the team. I have a sales expert on my team, and I also have a couple developers on my team. I pay them for their expertise, and that helps me grow my business faster, and I'm able to leverage their skills to grow my business faster. So that's definitely something I would recommend investing in as well. Over the last 5 years, pretty much all the money I made, I've invested back into the business to get it up to where it is today. But at some point, I'm going to stop probably investing because I'm going to get it to where I want it, and then I can potentially sell it. Okay, and that's down the road, but that's kind of what we're looking at. All right, so let's take a look at the flywheel one more time. And after we apply all the things that we had before, okay, we had the time, the energy, and the attention. Well, now we have about the same amount of time, a little less energy, and about the same attention. But now we're buying our groceries once a week, okay, instead of going out to eat, instead of maybe going to the restaurant 5-6 times a week. Okay, we're saving that time. Now we have systems, we have employees. And all these things together add up to so much more leverage, okay? And a good example is leverage is, how is a guy like Elon Musk able to get so much stuff done? He's got like SpaceX and Tesla. He's got a lot of people that he's able to leverage to get all this stuff done. Okay, that's exactly what we're trying to do in this productivity flywheel. Now, probably for you watching this, you're going to do it on a smaller scale, but everything I've showed you in this video is exactly how you do it. Okay, you improve your time, energy, and intention. It starts there. Okay, and then you start getting that that gap of income versus your expenses, and then you start taking that gap money and you start investing it and getting more leverage. That is basically the gist of the entire productivity flywheel. Now, there are a few things that could screw up the flywheel. Is if you start making money and you do dumb things like buy a Lambo. I can think of a couple of guys right off the top of my head that were on YouTube a year ago. They were flashing their Lambos, and those guys, last I heard, they're selling their Lambos, and they're nowhere to be found. I mean, they may have hit a big campaign. They might have hit a course that got hot and it sold for a while, but all those things fade. Okay. And you're really only as good as your last campaign. And if you lose that campaign, you're done. Okay, you're back in where you were before you started, and that happens. Another thing that I wanted to mention is you put too much time and effort into potentially putting into a project. Like I mentioned that I was going to revise an old website. Okay. And I'm going to try to do that with as much time on my end as possible. I just found a decent writer that was hard up for work, and they're writing articles for me for about $13 an article, and I need about 30 of them. So it's not that much money, but I'm getting all the articles done that I'm going to need to revise this section of this website that I want to revise. So I'm leveraging that person's skills to get that done. Okay, that's a perfect example. But at the same time, I might be kind of spinning my wheels. Yeah, that site's getting traffic, but it's not really getting good traffic. So it's kind of a little bit of a gamble, especially right now, meaning no money's coming in, and I'm investing in a site that's kind of been left for dead. It could be one of those projects where you're maybe not making a lot of sense. You're not going to see an ROI on that investment. So it's kind of a toss-up. You got to really think about what you're going to spend your time and your money on before you do the investment, okay? Because if you put too much time and effort into something that just doesn't pay any dividends or pay off in the long run, then you just wasted a bunch of time, okay, and money. So those are some of the things that can kind of mess up the flywheel. But other than that, I mean, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys, got something today. I basically, told you exactly how, you can structure your life and your business going forward here while you're at home, and try to become more productive. But this is the way guys like Jeff Bezos and even Elon Musk. This is what they've done over the years to build that leverage. I mean, it started. All those guys started probably with one person, and then that person, I call it Superman syndrome, but that they got over their Superman syndrome, then started hiring more people, and then that just became the flywheel, and they just kept growing and growing and growing, and that's what I'm trying to teach you guys in this video. And make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I would appreciate a comment below if you like the content, and share it with your friends. I am the Marketing Meathead. We'll talk to you later.